All right, y'all. So 2 days ago, they did announce the developers letter to kind of information. We don't have the full details just yet, but they did confirm that both Super Saiyan Goku and Majin Buu Good would be getting adjustments. In turn, they are nerfing Super Saiyan Goku and buffing Majin Buu. I think Super Saiyan Goku is by far, I think, the best character in the game. Most people who are higher ranked would agree with that, right? Once you actually get Super Saiyan Goku down, he just only has so many options in terms of brushing in, escape, damage. Like, he just has everything, man. I mean, especially this skill, you could use it to escape, you could use it to rush in, cover a lot of space, you could use it to stagger enemies. It does a lot of burst damage, Kamehameha at level 3 especially. The size of this move is absolutely crazy, and it does also apply movement speed down when you use Kaioken. Kaioken, you get basically a Kaioken burst restored if you hit one of these skills, so you could just spam this. In fact, if anything, we do know that Kaioken is getting an extended duration, but the buffs for the attack power movement speed are getting nerfed. The additional input duration for Meteor Hammer and Kamehameha are also getting shortened, so you have to do the Kaioken burst faster. Like, I think this is going to be really interesting, especially with Meteor Hammer. I think, in my opinion, Meteor Hammer is definitely his best move, especially because you could also use it really nicely to farm a lot of mobs and everything like that, like on the field, get a lot of XP. Spirit Bomb wasn't touched. I think that's fair, because it's like level 3 is when Spirit Bomb gets mega crazy. Before then, it's still a very good option for secures against bosses, but in team fights, it's not like the craziest. It's just, you know, at level 3, it's like one of the best moves in the game by far. And that Spirit Bomb is really good. But yeah, I think it's very easy to make changes to Goku with what they're doing. I do think that sounds hopeful. I mean, maybe some could argue he needed a little more, but I want to see the actual numbers and in-game usage now, because Meteor Hammer is, again, by far his best move specifically. Then with Majin Buu, again, base HP, Strangle Gum, Healing Ray, like all of this is just getting buffed. He's received an overall buff. Hopefully that's like, again, a Kid Gohan level buff is what they mean here. So we'll see. But these might just be kind of like talking generally what this guy's doing. I mean, base HP will always be useful. If Majin Buu has like the most base HP out of any technical, that's going to be nice, especially with the Healing Ray. It does heal himself, and having an increased range and Strangle Gun potentially doing damage could be really interesting too. I mean, we'll see what happens again, because the funny thing about this game is that any technical, basically all of these guys could actually run the Snowball card. Very powerful offensive card, except for Majin Buu. So if Majin Buu is somehow able to, like, you know, even run Snowball with Strangle Gun being like a good offensive move, considering that it is the skill that, you know, gets buffed in the skill level 1 damage up, that could be interesting, especially since it does apply attack down and movement speed down. Like, again, Majin Buu has the makings of a potentially good kit, I think, with these first 2 skills. These are the ones they're buffing. Skill 3, I'm not really a fan of, but you can kind of, again, I haven't seen it myself, and I always say this, but you could do shenanigans with it by moving different lanes. You could turn people into candy, grab them, and bring them into your God of Destruction, have them take a ton of damage. That's possible. Many different things can happen when it comes to Majin Buu being a little threat right here, right? So I'm excited to see his buffs just because he needs more. This, I think they should have personally like changed this, but whatever, it's fine. It's not the biggest deal. Now, when it comes to those two, I think, you know, very deserved changes, but there's still, I think, a lot of other characters in the game that do need changes, and they did state that, again, the mid-season adjustments will be smaller in scale than those that were made at season launch, and their goal is to ensure all heroes can shine. So they'll be, again, just balancing characters frequently over time, depending on what's needed. And I think that is good, even though, you know, it's going to be less characters at a time. Give them the time to focus on specific characters, but release these changes more closer to each other than like farther out. Because if it was seasonal and we had to wait every 2 to 3 months for an adjustment, I think that would just not be nice at all. So again, I actually accidentally opened Gekishin Squadron. My bad, chat. Let me just close that. I did not mean to open that. Anyways, I did ask Twitter as well. Now that we know that these guys are getting changes, what other characters do you think need buffs and nerfs, and what would you change about them? Again, I know a very, very popular answer is going to be Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So we'll talk about him when we get there. I have a few characters of my own that I think should need adjustments, but funny enough, a lot of them are actually tank characters. More HP to Trunks. Actually, you know, Trunks isn't a character I was thinking of at the top of my mind. When it comes to Trunks, I'm trying to think, what would I change specifically about him? Because he's kind of like a character that's like very heavy Snowball. Like, he fits in line with the game, but again, I think Trunks and Cell are similar in the way where early on they're very weak. Because the whole thing about Trunks is that he gets this overcharge ability, which you get by having an advantage. And early on, Trunks, you know, if you try to be aggressive with, you know, a lot of attackers, but including Trunks himself, it could be a bit dangerous for him to try and get out. And if you're too pushy, Trunks will just die easily, especially if you focus on Trunks, who has low HP compared to, I think, a lot of characters. Unfortunately, it doesn't really show like HP here specifically. In fact, I think there's let me try to bring up, there's another site that I saw the other day for Gekishin specifically that could give us a good idea. This Gacha Road site here. Let's go ahead and take a look at Super Saiyan Trunks Teen. Yeah, so it doesn't actually show HP here either, unfortunately. And it's like, I wish that we could see like the HP when it comes to these stats, or just stats in general in game. It would be very, very important, right? Either way, we could see that like Trunks had less strike damage resistance than most other characters, so his strike resistance is very low. That's another thing, right? He has decent energy resistance, I guess, but that's why like sometimes it feels like Trunks can get melted, especially when, you know, if we think about like strike moves. Trunks is like a win more character. I think it's something I heard someone say the other day. Win more with Trunks, right? You win and then you continue to win because he has the overcharge. You can use double skills. I think more HP would be a fair adjustment. Give Trunks a little more beef early on. I wouldn't mind that at all. Yeah, I think that's really all I would change for him. I don't think he needs too many changes except just a little more beef early on so he could like not get instantly killed. But if you play good with Trunks, he could be very powerful. And then, you know, a good Trunks, like even just like a decent Trunks buff could make him like top tier. I think this guy has, especially the makings late game, like a mid to late game Trunks could start looking very disgusting depending on how you got an advantage early on. And Trunks is also, you know, a pretty good pick, I think, for Superstar as well. So, I mean, not a bad option. I think Trunks could definitely, you know, use the help there. In fact, I should have taken a look here. What does Trunks' skill 1 do specifically? Again, at the top of my head, I don't remember. Yeah, the Spur Sword could do a lot of damage, and it's very quick. So, there that is for Trunks. Make it so Super Saiyan 3 Goku instantly dies when he launches skill 1. I mean, skill 1 is pretty good in Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but we'll talk about it in a bit. I think we'll see more. And I've talked about Super Saiyan 3 Goku in his own separate video as well. So if I see any specific things that people bring up, I will definitely look at it. But yeah, you know, if he does instantly die when he launches skill 1, I think that would make a lot of people happy. Nerf Cooler, you don't even know how his kit has so much CC. Nerf is buff Zarbon again, and then nerf Bojack ult, make it come out slower. So I think the buff Zarbon is a bit of a like joke maybe from Zed, who probably plays Frieza is what I'm assuming, right? Zarbon was buffed recently. Very, very, very powerful buff. The Zarbon in first form Frieza, by the way, I should clarify that it's not like just Zarbon, like it's first form Frieza, but Zarbon's very powerful. Cooler getting a nerf, I think, makes sense. Cooler stands out compared to a lot of the other tanks, I think, in a very disgusting way. It says Cooler doesn't have a lot of burst damage, but that skill 1 could do some crazy stuff. Now, he does have a lot of CC. Again, not specifically in this skill 1. It does do DOT damage, which is very annoying. This right here does have high pressure, movement speed down. And it applies stagger to dashing enemies. High pressure means that you can't vanish, right? In fact, this is something I should open in game to show you guys, because it's not something that the game necessarily tells you. Unfortunately, like, there's a lot of things that are stated in the game that you can't see from the character's kit. I wish like it was like, okay, I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you have to go to this game guide right here. You have to go all the way down, and then it's like these action effects here. High pressure prevents the use of vanishing step, also prevents high speed movement. The only skill base available movement that's free to use is warp, essentially. This is something that you have to go all the way down here in this game guide, that I'm sure like 99% of players haven't done this, right? Or read through this to kind of learn what it is. And you see here, provoked Khalifa skill, for example. Like, I wish that, you know, this is getting off topic, you can go like, okay, I'm reading Cooler's kit here, applies continuous damage. Like, if I could just click this right here, and then it brings a pop-up that tells me what continuous damage is. I wish I can click this right here, high pressure. Oh, what does high pressure do? I click this, it brings up a pop-up that tells me, hey, this is what high pressure does. You know, high pressure does what we just read, right? Limits vanish speed. It doesn't allow you to do high speed movement, right? That would be very nice if we did have that. But yeah, anyways, lots of CC there. Movement speed down as well. Movement speed down here, and then the shockwave affects surrounding enemies and also applies movement speed down to them. And then this has a pull towards the center of the explosion on top of that. So yeah, Cooler has a ton of CC. A ton of CC. Let's take a look at Zamasu. What does Zamasu has in terms of CC? Let's take a look here. Movement speed down here, which is not really like CC, but like, you know, it's useful. Continuous damage, no CC here. This is the like the only kind of I guess CC is kind of movement speed down a little bit. Like, Cooler has a ton of that, right? Especially, you know, his second skill could just grab them and pin them to the ground, right? You know, Cooler has quite a bit of stuff, so I definitely would understand why people are thinking of that specifically. It's just very the crowd control again is very good with Cooler. Like, you have quite a bit of it, right? And you know, movement speed down does count like that, but like Cooler has just a much easier time to apply all that stuff, right? You think Gammas have a lot of end lag, and their skill 2 specifically takes a while to come out, so maybe increase the start time and reduce end lag overall? Yes, I would say so. Like, Gammas, again, another character where it's like they just need a little bit. That's why I really like this cast of characters and how they're overall balanced, because even if they may need adjustments, they're still close enough to each other where it's like, oh, if they received like this one thing that could be changed, you know, considering that it is the start of the game, we're in season 1. And I'm sure there have many seasons planned out. The fact that it's like, oh, change with this one thing about the character and they're really good now. I think that's pretty cool. So we're talking about skill 2 here, which is actually kind of funny because it's like skill 1 is skill 2 is gamma 1, and then skill 1 is gamma 2. It's like a little confusing when you look at that. This does take a little bit of time to come out, right? We see right here. This is when they're actually in the special kind of effect here, but you see there's a little bit of lag right there when you click the skill, and especially if you're trying to catch someone that's like moving around, it's more drastic than you would think. And again, there is end lag right here a little bit with this move, but I think skill 1 also does have a bit of end lag if I'm not mistaken, right? Look at that. Yeah, again, because they do like the little fancy pose at the end, which, you know, that's awesome for the Gammas. We love their little like fancy poses and everything like that. The Gammas are so cool. The issue is that, you know, it kind of leaves them a little bit open, right? I just didn't even read this. Nerf Bojack ult, make it come out slower. Yeah, make Bojack worse. It's true. People are saying Bojack's so good, then let's nerf him. Guys, everyone keeps saying Bojack is so good. You just aren't using him right. Okay, if he's so good, nerf him. Go ahead, do it. I'm telling you guys, What I will say is if 90% of the players thinks a character needs to be buffed, and you main that character and you think that character is good, you should just also be like, hey, buff it. Guess what? You get free buffs. Come on. Hashtag buff Bojack. I mean, again, I think Bojack does maybe also deserve his own video. I'll probably just use Bojack and talk about how he should be buffed. But this guy just needs a damage increase. Skill 1 does like no damage, it feels like sometimes. Like if you combine all 3 of these skills, you could kill one character maybe. Which is cool. It's happened to me like once or twice, you know, where Bojack has 2 levels above me and then he uses all 3 skills and he's able to barely kill me. Very good for Bojack, right? Surely. You know, especially when like Super Saiyan Goku could do it in 1 skill. Very nice. Giga Grand Smasher. I don't think I have to talk about this ultimate. I've ragged on this ultimate too much to like even have to kind of this please do something. Nerf Kale to the ground along with hit, then buff the Vegeta skill 1 and skill 3. So Kale, I did make a post about Kale. In fact, I will bring this up on the side. My hot take is that Kale doesn't necessarily need to be nerfed. At most, I would say make skill 1 on its own, just like in general, do a little less damage. What I do think needs to be nerfed instead is this card right here. Snowball. Snowball got buffed when the game released and makes characters that shouldn't necessarily have to grab Snowball work with Snowball. Such as all the technical characters, I think. You could go Snowball with almost any character in the cast, which I think is, sure, that's fine. But then you also think about attackers. And it's like, oh, dude, Kale with Snowball stacks. Daima Goku with Snowball stacks. Like, Daima Goku with 4 Snowball stacks, dude? Like, people don't know. People still don't know how good this guy is. Pansy Bomb having... Because this does... It is... Actually, is it Pansy Bomb that does DOT? Where is the... Enemies caught in the explosive will suffer continuous damage. The burst of this not only has mega burst damage, but it does damage after. So even if you get out, you could still die from damage over time. And guess what, guys? If you didn't know, DOT does increase with snowballs. So the damage you take is increased by a ton with Snowball. And the reason why Snowball feels so effective right now is because they buffed it, right? I mean, if you play the network test, you will understand. Where is... I think it's in these patch notes. All the way at the bottom here. Yep. 50 to 75. So the max Snowball used to be at was 200. Now that the max Snowball is at is 300. That's the equivalent of having 2 extra Snowball stacks in the network test. That's what it is right now. That's why it's so powerful. Which is really interesting. I'm not sure. I mean, Snowball is already one of the better cards in the game, so I don't know what it needed a buff for. But if you nerf Snowball, I think that is still an effective nerf to Kale, because you're essentially getting rid of 2 Snowball stacks in a sense like that, right? Or you'd be getting rid of like a Snowball stack and like 1.25% of a Snowball stack, which definitely does matter. But if Snowball wasn't what it was before, you wouldn't need to nerf Kale as much. And I would say maybe, you know, Kale's ultimate doesn't really have that long of a timer. You think that it does, but I mean, when I use Kale, if I get a really good start, sometimes I'm able to use her ult up to like 3 times in a match, and that ultimate could very easily team wipe. What I would say is decrease the time that the ultimate like can come back, but increase the time that you're in the ultimate. Again, let's go ahead and take a look here at Kale. Let's go to training mode and let's just go into the special training stage, right? We could take a look here. Let's just, again, get my max level all the way up here. I don't know. We could just do 1 level up here. Let's just transform to Kale. We see it is what, about 112 seconds, right? And again, you could very easily do quite a bit of damage with Kale here. again, Kale is able to basically wipe out the entire field. The transformation doesn't last too long, but of course the cooldown doesn't increase the higher you go in terms of levels. But I feel like, I don't know, I like if you get Kale's ultimate out decently early on, or like you have like I've been able to use Kale's ultimate like in a longer game up to 3 times, because again, it's pretty much 2 minutes that you wait for Kale's ultimate to come back. So if you get the ultimate out and you use it, like, I don't know, let's say you're 5 minutes in, then 7 minutes in you could use it, and 9 minutes in you could use it again. That's 3 times you could basically use Kale's ultimate. And for how powerful it is, I could definitely see someone thinking that it's a bit too strong right now, especially because you could very easily, like, especially you bring out Nail here, you have the stagger with her vanish move, like you could very easily get a team wipe with Kale, right? And this is not, again, this is like it's the one Vegeta, but I think you guys kind of get the point. Maybe make the time that the skill comes back longer, but in return, make the ult last a little longer as well. Like maybe, I don't know, how long exactly does this ultimate last? I never like looked at the exact like time that this ultimate lasts for. Again, we could just take a look here. So I'm at 125 in the recording. Again, let's just wait for the ult to run out real quick here. And again, so what, this ultimate lasts for about 10 seconds, which is quite a bit, but maybe make it last 15. I know that sounds crazy, and maybe it is crazy. Maybe you don't even need to increase the ult thing, but I think Kale isn't a character that really needs a lot of buffs or nerfs, because keep in mind, Kale is a character that doesn't have a lot of movement in general. Like, this is all she has. This skill doesn't have movement. This skill doesn't have movement. There's no movement here. She only has her vanish to rely on. And that's what kind of, I think, is something that is being considered when it comes to Kale, right? And we can end training. I'm sure we could take a look here at, where is it? There's a show like mobility is very low with Kale. Again, let's take a look at Super Saiyan Goku. Very high mobility. Let's take a look at Piccolo. Has decent mobility, right? Because he at least has his skill 3 to kind of help him out. 18 has pretty good mobility. Again, we see a lot of these characters do have pretty decent ones. Of course, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I mean, it says he has no mobility, but he has a really good mobility, especially with the instant transmission. So, like, when everything is kind of coming down to it, Kale doesn't have that. So I just think people thinking Kale needs to be nerfed to the ground. If they nerf her a bit too much, she'll be pretty much unrunnable, and she'll be just a mega ult merchant, which means that she'll be useful every 2 minutes, which, you know, could still come in handy. But I don't think that Kale needs like the nerfs that people are thinking that she does personally. And I am someone who's also played Kale quite a bit, so I feel very, very good about making these statements, right? So lower Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Kamehameha damage. Yeah, I think 1 or 2 things, just adjust about Super Saiyan 3 Goku, make it a little worse, and things will even out. I think the specifically instant transmission Kamehameha should be nerfed in some way, because I've talked about this in his own video, but the whole point is that you charge this up and you're just left open, right? And people are able to see you charge it up, so they're able to plan around it. But when you use the IT Kamehameha, that kind of like drawback to it is completely taken away, because you just instantly fire a fully charged up one, even though you use 2 skills. Like, it's not like the cooldowns are so long where it's like, oh god, I have to really think about using these 2 skills. No, you can spam this. Like, Super Saiyan 3 Goku is like the most, like, I don't know how to explain it, rewarding character for how little thought you have to put in. And that's probably why a lot of people think that this guy's better than Super Saiyan Goku, because it doesn't take too much to really use this character at a good level. Like, he's just kind of silly with the IT Kamehameha. That's what I would kind of change about this guy. I think the Gamma's HP, funny enough, even though they have 2 HP bars, I think increasing would be nice, because you do have to recall every time you lose a Gamma. So I think that would help them stay in battle a little more. Buff Bojack's overall damage, give him a barrier during a super attack. Yeah, because again, he is just like sitting there. He's a sitting duck. You can kill him when he's using his ultimate. Like, I mean, you could do that with many characters, but Bojack is especially a sitting duck, right? Reduce 18's damage a little. I could see that. I could see that. 18 is a character that's like weird because she's like kind of better Trunks a little bit, right? Like in terms of like, I don't know, that's how I kind of view them in the network test, because 18 does have, again, like she has like her own like set of like, not like Snowball with killing them, but like she has her own build up damage where she focuses a target, she does more damage to them, right? She has tracking, she applies no skills here, like she does quite a bit of good things. I think the thing about 18 though is that it's also easy to kind of focus on her and kill her. Well, she has a lot of mobility. Look at that energy resistance, man. A lot of these attacks are energy based, of course. And I don't know, I feel like I just personally, I guess to be fair, maybe a lot of people just don't have 18 and I haven't really felt the true effects of her. So I think 18 also isn't necessarily the best at securing, because all of these are against like, you know, enemy heroes, if I'm not mistaken. Like her ultimate could be used as a secure, and you know, if she defeats someone by using it, it reduces her cooldown for that, which is really nice. But like in terms of getting a secure on a boss, I'm not sure how effective she would be for that compared to the other attackers, right? So I could be wrong about that. Again, I haven't used 18 to that much of an effect. I've kind of just seen people use 18. I've talked with people about 18 when doing like tier lists, stuff like that. I would say 18 probably can secure a boss pretty safely though, especially with like the destructive disc or ultimate, right? Reduce freezes the attack speed of the Doria. I think that's fair. And buff Zamasu's damage. I wouldn't buff Zamasu's damage. I think Zamasu just needs more. I would give Zamasu more HP. Like Zamasu worked so well in the network tests, and you know, he was very powerful. You don't have to give him as much HP as he did in the network test, but going from multi all the way to Gekishin Squadra, every character basically got nerfed in terms of their HP pool. Zamasu should have similar HP to what he did in the network test. Doesn't have to be as much, but in the original Project Multi network test, Zamasu was very good. Just give him that, because that's how they designed his kit to be around, right? Give him that, and he's cooking. I think really, like, that's all you have to do, and maybe make his immortality a little easier to get. They could also adjust like this skill. What is it called? I think it's skill 2. Like it's kind of like whatever. I don't know. I think skill 2 is more of an annoyance in a lot of situations, but yeah. Let's take a look here. Nerf Bojack is too good. Okay. Yeah, we talked about the Gammas one. Overhaul, Super Saiyan 3 Goku's Kamehameha. Fair. Nerf Bojack, buff Bojack. Let's take a look a little more here. Again, we took a look at Kale, nerf Kale, make her optimal combo, do less damage, so skill 2, skill 1. Okay. Make her ult stun every 2 hits instead of 1. For 3Q, you would nerf his Kamehameha damage, delete cooler. Buff gives Zamasu a little more damage, increases HP God's duration. Yeah. I think Zamasu getting a little more damage, that would be good too, honestly. I could definitely see that. Make Cell's transformation thing faster and make the explosion move blow up faster. Cell, there's a few things I would change about him. And he's another character where it's like, he's just give him that a little more early on and he goes an extra mile with everything. Where is the post I was talking about Cell here? Here it is. Perfect. So again, I said 2 changes I would make to Cell. Take the HP section out of Bio Energy and slap it on to him as a baseline. I think that is something that they should do. Because Bio Energy, sometimes, like, especially if you're not in a direct... The thing with Cell, you get more Bio Energy when you're fighting people, like actual enemy heroes. And then you get a lot less from fighting mobs. I think that kind of detracts from Cell a little bit as how to explain it, like, at least to me, it felt like you get more from fighting enemy heroes. I think that takes away from Cell a little bit in terms of his design as a character that wants to kind of not directly engage as a tank. Like it's really weird. Cell does not want to directly engage early on as a tank. He'll get more HP, but then it's very easy for him to get sniped. Like, that's not how he operates, right? So my idea is to just get rid of that. He still will have the extra armor and attack power the more bioenergy absorbs. But what they should do instead, the music stopped for some reason. Oh, because it repeated. I'm talking for a long time. Wow. Okay. But instead, just give it to him a flat HP buff so that he's able to collect more bioenergy easily by fighting enemies. And then he'll be able to transform earlier just by having the extra HP, because he's able to stay in fights longer. And of course, he'll still be farming, of course, but like the fact that he can't fight at all as a tank, like early on, is just very, like, you could fight and you could win early on, but you have to be very careful and you have to play really smart. And then if you're just against like a Super Saiyan Goku or Super Saiyan 3 Goku, like, what are you gonna do? Yeah, it's just something you have to think about. Skill 3 I hate. Again, you take, the more damage you take, the more you heal, but you're just a sitting duck, and especially if you're in a fight with, like, you know, a 3v3 or a 2v3 or something like that, you just, like, firstly, you leave your other allies either open or yourself open, and they can just kill you, and then they get sniped at your other allies, and bam, they suddenly have 2 pigs, because you can get killed when you're doing this. I think that's really stupid. Make him regenerate a fixed amount of HP, 20 to 25%, rather than the amount of damage that he will receive. Just a flat HP, no matter what, you always get this HP amount when you regenerates. And then instead of giving a movement speed down debuff, give him damage reduction. Because I don't understand the movement speed down, because it's only towards front facing enemies. And what is that going to do? Are they going to run away from you because you're using this regen? No, they're going to go in and kill you. So what's the point of giving them movement speed down? Unless it's like, oh, after they kill you, now your allies could go ahead and kill them and they can't really run away. But again, it is still situational because you still have to be facing them. So instead of doing that, just give him actual damage reduction, like a barrier or something. Just make it so that he can't be killed when using this. And it's like a get out of jail free card. I mean, maybe you time this properly against a spirit bomb or something and you take loads of less damage and then you heal back from it. That'd be pretty cool, right? Like a tank character having that ability would be really nice. Maybe it could just be a little faster with it when the explosion comes out too. I don't know. Skill 1, I said I do like it because you can kind of plan ahead for it and when it explodes. But I think like if you could just like detonate it when you want to, would be nice. It does apply movement speed down as well. Like Cell, it's really his HP. And then skill 2 doesn't even need to be touched, really. I think we all agree on that. Buff Vegeta skill 1. Yeah, Vegeta skill 1, I'm not a fan of it. It can do quite a bit. I think the best Vegeta player actually goes skill 2 to skill 1. Skill 1, again, this also does recover shield. At level 3, it's pretty good overall. Like, it covers a wider range, and if you use it smartly, it could be useful. I would say though, when it comes to like earlier on, maybe it could be a little better, and maybe the damage could be a little more, but who knows. Remake Check, give Gammas more damage. A bunch of whining. You don't really feel like any character gives me too much problem. You're almost A and every rank. Congrats, man. You're almost an A. Dude, these comments are so funny. Like, we're not even whining. I just, like, we care about the health of the game. And sure, you know, some things are very annoying, but this is funny. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm almost an A. Like, I'm not laughing on you just like for like a bad thing. It kind of is, but it's like, when you're like in B rank lobbies, you're not going to be fighting S rank players or players who know how to actually play the game, players who have been playing the game since the network tests and know like the ins and outs of all these characters that they're maining. Like, sometimes things are a problem. Sometimes things are not, should be adjusted. Like, that is the truth of these games. Sometimes things are too strong, sometimes things are too weak. Also, you're probably fighting C-rank players. Hands up in the air. Low-key, Vegeta's S1, I don't feel doesn't do that much damage unless it's a skill damage up divine draw. Gohan is too tanky. He should get a small HP nerf. Zamasu should get super armor for 3 or 5 seconds when he revives. Yeah. Doesn't he? What does Zamasu have specifically? Let me take a look here if I could actually bring that up, because I think Zamasu does have some sort of like immunity when he uses his ultimate, or no, when he revives actually. Yeah. Okay. Because again, here's the revival right there. He's kind of just standing there panning. Yeah. Okay. It's his ultimate, I think, that I'm thinking of. Gohan is Sutenki, small HP nerf. Fair. They did buff Gohan mega. Kale needs her HP buffed and her ultimate nerfed. I think this would be a fair trade-off. More HP for Kale, but ultimate nerfed in some way. Sure. Bojack. Cooler, nerf, got Super Saiyan 3 Kamehameha, buff Gamma's HP. Again, we're taking a look at a lot of the same characters, so I'm gonna see if there's anything different. Nerf Krillin Solar Flare, I don't think that needs to be nerfed. Again, it is also an ability that you have to hit front-facing enemy players. Keep in mind, guys, if you look away from the solar, I know it's funny to say, but if you're not looking at the Solar Flare, you don't get hit by it because he doesn't blind you. It's enemies that are facing you. So it doesn't work half the time. And I think some people don't know this. Some people don't know this. Very funny. You're tired of getting bullied by 17. I think 17 is a character that's like, he's doing a lot, but he's not excelling at any of them specifically. Unless it's like skill 1 with full snowball stacks. Then he's like doing some crazy stuff, but his ultimate is more of an, like what 17 is doing more so is enabling characters rather than being mega crazy himself. This ultimate is probably though like the most unspoken about broken ability in this game right now. 17's ultimate, no healing. I don't think there's another ability that has this. There could be one, but to this extent, being able to apply no healing to everyone on the enemy team if you get it like timed right, and it gives everyone extra HP in your team. Like 17 is very good. I think he's like under talked about. Like when people talk about technicals, they talk about hit, they talk about Frieza, they talk about Kid Gohan, even Krillin. Like I think 17 for how good he is, I don't know. I feel like he's not as talked about as like these four. Maybe because hit is more of a rat. Kid Gohan has the stagger. Like 17 has a stagger, but it's his kind of worst ability. Frieza is annoying when it comes to like trying to get objectives. Like Frieza's there, he's like, I'm stealing your objective, buddy. Krillin, I think, especially after like people, like more people are like realizing how good he is or how good he is, even including me, right? At first I was like, I'm not sure about hit, but now I'm like, oh shit, hit, right? Frieza, Kid Gohan, I think everyone knows how good Kid Gohan is, so we don't really have to talk about him. 17 is the one that I feel like gets talked about the least amount, because everyone talks about Buu because he sucks, because they're like, oh man, buff Majin Buu. So now he's gonna be buffed and maybe he's gonna be really good. All right, so I finished that video, but I realized there's like 1 or 2 more characters I do want to just talk about, really looking at it. And everyone else is kind of like, you know, you could see an adjustment or not. I think we talked about majority of the cast, but I want to bring up Hit, Goku, and Oob. Just quickly, Hit does need a nerf. I don't know what they would do for him. I think him being able to blind the entire enemy field is really stupid. Very, very dumb. I think skill 3 is a bit too strong, because when you get this maxed out, you could be, you like Hit with this maxed out is able to keep his uptime of invisibility, like of the stealth. Like he's able to have that up 100% of the time when you have this. I think that's a bit too strong. That fact that like, you know, especially with Superstar, it's a bit oppressive. I think these 2 moves are overall fine, because you have to at least plan around them. I just think the obscurity here should be somewhat adjusted. Maybe the range of the ultimate could be lower, or maybe it can only hit up to 2 enemies, the closest ones. Sure, I think that's fine. Then this dimensional infiltration does need to be nerfed in some way, but I don't think it needs like mega major nerfs or anything like that, especially when we consider all the other technicals are very good, and Hit does require at least a certain amount of thinking, you know, especially without Super Start. Like, again, I'm not really bothered by these two specifically. Maybe his overall damage can be tuned down a little, but I think it's really these two that need to be adjusted, the skill 3 and the ultimate. Again, not much to say about Hit. I think everyone finds it annoying, though. That's for sure. He's very good. Daima Goku, I did talk about this, but I didn't really say specifically this needs to be nerfed. Wasabi Bomb needs to be nerfed some way. Or like the combination of these two, it just needs a little bit of a nerf. Because for some reason they also buffed his, like, his rush attacks, which, you know, fair. Sure, let it do more damage. I think, like, nerf the combination of these two together and then buff this move a little bit. Maybe it's like make him a little faster during this, or increase the range, or increase the damage. This is nice, but I feel like this isn't really like a move that people will go out of the way to choose, especially with how powerful these two are. Just nerf that. Or again, like we said, if Snowball is nerfed, this character gets nerfed automatically as well because of the AOT. Like, this is a character that benefits the most from Snowball. This, like, is this the character that benefits the most from Snowball specifically? He also benefits a lot from, like, Lightning Bolt too, like that card specifically. Like Daima Goku, they would just kind of rush in there and just throw these two things out instantly and just do like 16 billion damage. His ultimate, I think, is pretty fine overall. I think maybe you can increase the range for it, but it's not that big of a deal. I think Oob just needs a little more, like, I don't know. He's not really good at securing objectives. I'm not sure what I would change about Oob, because I haven't used Oob that much. I used him mostly in the last network test, and he wasn't really changed. I just feel like Oob, when we look at a bunch of other heroes, like, what skill really is a confirmed skill? Like, that's really good against bosses? None of them. This guy does have the barrier, the unstoppable effect, which is nice. But he's very much, like, based around these, the Cyclone, right? And, you know, I think because of that, like, against bosses and securing, not the best. His ultimate, I think, could be pretty good when you have it built up. I don't know, maybe just like a slight damage increase would be what I would do for him. Maybe just make him a little buffer, like, kind of buff him up a little with HP, maybe. I don't know. But I think Oob does need a little bit of a buff for sure. Let me know if you, like, any Oob players, let me know what you guys would change about him if you, like, really like using Oob. But that's it. So I'm officially ending the video this time. Let me know what you guys are thinking. If there's anyone I missed, I talked again about most of the cast, except for, like, I guess Deborah is the only one I didn't talk about, or Baby. I mean, I think some of the, like, Piccolo, I think they're fine. Like, I wouldn't really change too much. Maybe Deborah could, I don't know. I think Deborah could use a little more, sure. But thanks all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.